Hello, I'm Grace from Quantock.com, and this is a Trailblazer interview. We are here today with Kerslake, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you and tell you all about her fabulous work. So Claire, thank you for being with us today. Please tell us what you're about.
Oh, Grace, thank you so much for asking me. It's a real honour to be here. So I'm a registered nurse and diabetes educator and founder of lovinglifewithdiabetes.com. So I'm based in New South Wales in Australia, as you could probably tell from the accent. And I set the blog up about a year ago now, and it's designed to be a place to provide inspiration, motivation and support, and also a place to help people develop the skills to create healthy change in their lives. So, and it's designed for people at risk of diabetes or with type 2 diabetes, but also really anyone who wants to make positive changes in their life, because it's not as easy, it's easier said than done.
It is, isn't it? You know, you see it in the films and they have the motivational music playing, and you just watch the person, they read a few books and they're in the gym for a shot, and then suddenly their life has changed. And when we try it, it doesn't actually happen like that, or at least not for me.
Oh, absolutely, Grace. And that was probably a big motivator for me, because I realised that I knew what to do, but I just wasn't doing it. And it was a great mystery to me until I discovered that it wasn't just about willpower. In fact, willpower is just a tiny piece of that puzzle, and it's more about learning the skills, a bit like riding a bike. And so when I discovered that just changed my life. And not that I'm perfect, but I'm able to at least help people gain that skill. Yeah.
Can you expand a bit on the skills? This is so interesting.
It's fascinating, Grace. We think that when we want to make changes, we get motivated and then it's all down to willpower, and often our change efforts aren't successful. We tend to backslide. And what I found is that that's actually normal, and it's more of a trial and error approach, and you look at strategies that you can put into place. So you look at, instead of, say we want to start exercising, for instance, and we after a few weeks we realise we're no longer doing it, and most people that I see, they come into my office and they beat themselves up. They think I'm lazy, I've just got no willpower. When in fact something has gone wrong with their strategy, and it's just a matter of looking and saying, okay, what went really well and what didn't, and how can I put some more steps in to get around that. So it's more about strategy and much less about willpower, because willpower runs out. I've got very little willpower, but it's more about strategy. And often too, it's so complex. It's also about looking and sometimes being willing to look at the deeper motivations and what's going on underneath as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so liberating, because so often we can get to a point where we get so angry with ourselves. And also, I think that there's a problem with self-help, that I see a lot of clients who I almost think they need to go into self-help rehab, because we believe that one day, if we work really, really hard and we try really, really hard, that we'll be perfect. And I don't think it's true or human, and I think it's absolutely beautiful that we don't have to be like that. And I remember reading once they said that when pilots fly, they don't go in a straight line, they course correct continuously. So if you want to get somewhere, you just have to keep coming back on course. And I really liked that.
Fascinating analogy. Yeah, it's perfect. That's right.
So can you tell us?
So you go, yeah?
No, please finish the thought.
I think the key is, often many people think, I love myself when I get to X weight or when I'm doing this. Yeah. And the key is to love yourself now. That's really vital.
It is. I worked with basicmissions.com, and we do reboots and Septembers. And the one, I think we did an exercise one. And in it we were talking about how if you begin your new regime with the idea that I'm going to lose 20 pounds because I'm so fat and ugly, then you've got the seed of your failure implanted in your beginning because you're starting it from the point of view of hating yourself, not liking yourself, or punishing yourself, and it's already not going to work. So I'm not saying we can't exercise until we totally love ourselves, but if we're keeping coming back to the idea that we are human, and that we are beautiful, and that we are ourselves, and that that is okay, however we are right now, that can just help the progression.
Ah, so true. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what twists and turns brought you to this point? How did you end up doing this work?
Really interesting question, because for many years, in fact most of my life, I was probably doing work that wasn't truly aligned with my values. So I'm a registered nurse and I was in the acute sector working in hospitals and quite good at it, but just always wondered what I would do when I grew up, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Thinking you hear about people with their purpose, and in fact, I always wondered, I thought I had a purpose, but I just couldn't find what it was. And then about 5 years, it's really interesting how the universe works. I was in a job that I probably should have left about 6 months before I did, and very high stress, very long hours. I had an hour drive home, and sometimes I would cry all the way home. It was just a terrible time. And I ended up leaving that, fortunately, to work in the community and then as a diabetes educator, and found I absolutely loved it, because I really love working with people. I'm very passionate about health, and I'm really passionate about supporting people to create better health in their lives, and I just love what I do. I never thought that was possible to love what I do, but I really do. And as I mentioned before, I always wondered why I wasn't doing the things that I knew I should do, particularly with health, and unlocking that key and finding that answer has totally changed my life, and I'm probably passionate about helping other people to do that as well. So it's been an interesting ride, but I'm at the point I really love my life and I love what I'm able to do.
And that's beautiful, and that's such a beautiful journey to get to that point and to find your Dharma. And sometimes it is so hard because we're waiting for it to show up, and we start, we're thinking, where is it? And sometimes I think it waits until we have the experience, or we are in the position that we need to be able to do it, till we've matured to that point, and then it just pops up. And I love what you say about when I grow up. One of our trailblazers, who's been a guest on our trailblazer conferences, is Michelle Ward, and she's lovely, and she's called the When I Grow Up coach, and she helps you figure out what you want to do when you grow up.
I love it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, what do people thank you for the most in your work?
I think mostly for being supportive and understanding, because I haven't been super good at adopting health practices in my own life. Like, I know what it's like to give in to a craving and perhaps not to exercise and for things to fall off the wagon. So I know exactly where they're coming from. So they're not going to get, what people so often get from health professionals. You need to do this and you need to do that. I can pick them up, say, look, I know where you're coming from, and together we're going to move forward with this. So that's probably, that relief that someone understands and then can support them in their journey.
There's a lot of compassion there and understanding.
Yes.
Good place to be working from. It's not intimidating. So, my question was going to be next, what's your revolution? If you could start a movement, what would it be? But is this your revolution, what you told us about?
I think partly. Also, I'd love to start a revolution where people learn to love themselves, because I think we're not very good at that. Most of us aren't. So I think that would be wonderful. And the other thing was, and perhaps that's something I'll branch into, there are so many cooking shows now, Grace, and they're very, very popular. And they all are quite, I think, unhealthy, which is a judgment. They use a lot of calories, the dishes, and a lot of salt, a lot of butter, etc. And I'd love to see people learn how to cook beautiful meals that are actually healthy, so that we know how to do that. So I think that would be great, because that actually give people the skills. Okay, this is how you can. It is possible to eat healthy food prepared in a healthy way that is delicious.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's probably two things.
No, you can have more than one revolution. That's okay. I have no doubt that you'll do them. And yes, that's so much more inclusive. It strikes me as what you're saying, less as a judgment value on the cooking shows now, and wanting something that's more inclusive. That, because if I watch cooking shows on television here, I don't, because I don't have TV, but if I was at somebody else's house and watched a cooking show, I don't know what I'd be able to eat off it, because I'm vegan, organic, gluten-free, high raw, everything else. So then lots of things, I don't resonate with that, and also I can't watch them because they could have been some animals and I won't be able to watch them doing that. I'm a lifelong vegetarian. I've been vegan for 10 years, so yeah, that's not going to be something I'm going to watch. But yes, on Sunday we went on an adventure, which is a bit of another story, but we found a cafe in Bristol, which is in the south of England, kind of near the Welsh border, and this cafe was vegan, all vegan, and organic, and fair trade, and locally grown, and they had gluten-free things in there, and it was just amazing to be able to go somewhere and go, I can eat anything in this shop, pretty much. Whereas if you go to the supermarket, which again we don't regularly do, but it's mainly because you go there and I can eat like that much of what's in the shop. There's like 2 aisles of organic vegetables and they are all I can eat, and everything else just doesn't count as food for me. So it's not inclusive. And we always used to say to people would go, oh, we don't serve vegan things because there's no demand for them. And I used to say, well, why? Because everybody can eat vegan things. People who are kosher, people who eat halal, people who are vegetarian, who are vegan, who have intolerances to certain meat and meat byproducts. They can all eat vegan things.
Grace, you must have thought all your Christmases had come at once finding that little shop.
It was amazing. The adventure was, we were going to go out, because normally we prepare our food in advance, but we're going to go out and, what if there's nothing we could eat that day? What if we couldn't find anything to eat? And then we found the little shop, and it was just, and they let dogs in there, so our rescue dog could come in with us. And I met a lady there who's a disability activist locally, and her wheelchair was actually made of green glitter.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Wow.
Talk about impressive. So yes, it was just this amazing time. The excitement.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that's what, you've just seen what lights me up. Glitter, books, and excitement. So what lights you up and brings you joy?
Grace, that's an interesting question. I talked about my job about 5 years ago, and I can remember I used to think on those days that were just so long. You know, joy is such a beautiful word, and one of my goals was to actually find some joy, and it just seemed like it was so far off and so far away. And yet now, you know, most days are filled with joy. So I really love to do what I do. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up and the last thing at night. So my work gives me joy. Also when I have a client come back and they've made some changes in their life and they just feel so empowered is wonderful. And then there's just spending time with my husband and family. I just love to do that. Yeah, so.
I'm glad to hear you have joy. It's such a beautiful essence that we can enjoy in our lives. And moving on to a question which is related for me, what books do you love, or what would you recommend? Because you've got to understand that when anybody meets me, they go away with a reading list. You bump into me, and you go away with kind of things to study. So I also assume that everybody else does this, and I welcome it. So I give everybody that comes to my website opportunity to give people homework. I know. You can tell I'm back in school now, can't you? At the moment, it's great. I got new folders and new pens, and I got textbooks and everything, and it's very exciting. So yes, any books that you love or would recommend?
Grace, I'm with you. I know you love books, and I love books too. In fact, I've got 3 7-foot bookcases.
Girl off my heart.
Now, I must confess I haven't read them all, which is a bit naughty, or I'm not sure what. I get passionate and I buy them, and then they sit there looking beautiful. But my passion, probably one of my drives, is self-improvement. So I don't read any fiction, really.
Right.
And most would be self-help books, probably. And also in my field, because, trying to develop my skills there. But there's some great books. There's a wonderful book called If Not Dieting, Then What? By Dr. Rick Hausman, who's a doctor in Melbourne.
I've not heard of that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's a great book, and it helps anyone who's been on the dieting sort of merry-go-round, if you like. So fantastic. I think a book by Norman Doidge called The Brain That Changed Itself was amazing because, when I did my training, you learned that with your brain, what you had was what you got. But in fact, it's just so different.
Interesting.
I love the Happiness Trap by Russ Harris, and that's about acceptance and commitment therapy. That was wonderful. Yeah, there's so
I haven't read those, so I want to go away and read those. I've got to say, I'm impressed the dedication, because I read a lot of fiction. I do. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm currently reading. I don't know. I've got piles and piles. Oh yes, I do. But whoever thought that all my childhood reading novels would end up me growing up to write and get paid for it? So it led to wonderful things.
Yeah,
whoever knew that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I do. I love novels. So, what do you consider to be your greatest strength?
My greatest strength. It's interesting. Probably it's a combination of my values of that self-improvement and making a difference and understanding and empathy. Maybe that all rolled into one.
That sounds pretty
cool.
It's
a difficult question. It's hard to answer, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we're not going to give you easy questions. We're going to have some challenge going on here. So it's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
So, I'm skipping ahead slightly. If I give you a word change, what does that mean to you?
Change? Well, currently in my work, that's what I do. Help people to change and make healthy changes. So probably
I can see that link. And what challenges you, and how do you overcome that challenge personally?
I think probably my biggest challenge at the moment is time, because I'm developing my website in addition to my work. And that's probably, but it's a good break. I'm just so blessed that that's my only challenge. And I think mindset, we're capable of so much more than we think, and just stepping past that fear, I think, is really, it's just so good to have done that and then look back. And sometimes it's just needing that gentle push. And I found when I've got coaching, you get that gentle nudge or a gentle kick at the rear. It pushes you in the right direction. You look back and wonder what your problem was.
Oh yes, I'm a big advocate of coaching, and I've been very blessed to have some amazing mentors who help me, propel me forward and call me out when I'm not doing something I need to be doing. So,
because someone else will always see what you need to do, even if we can't see it ourselves.
And that is the beauty of these collaborations which we're able to do, especially over the internet.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing what technology is doing for us?
I kind of can't believe how I'm on Skype with you and you're across the world.
That's right, it's incredible.
I also quite like the symmetry because you are in New South Wales and I am in South Wales.
Yes, that's right. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I was thinking that today.
So, dreams for the future. What are your plans?
Probably to develop the website blog more and more products that will help people. Yeah.
Lovely.
And still looking at what direction to go there, but just to positively impact, tens, hundreds of thousands of people and really make a difference. Yeah.
That's a good big dream. I work with Erica Learmark from dailywhip.com, and
Okay.
I went in her morning whip program, and she gets you to do your red carpet dream. So what's your big dream, the one that scares you slightly? And yes, to impact that many people, to be able to support, how amazing.
Yes.
So, what do you want the people who are kindly watching to go and do now? You get to give them a takeaway.
Okay. Well, it'd be lovely if they drop by the website, which is www.lovinglifewithdiabetes.com, and have a bit of a look around. Mm-hmm. The other thing may be to think about one healthy change you can do. It might just be adding an extra vegetable into your meal or into your day. Just one small change that's going to make a difference. Or I've got an optional extra.
Go for it.
And that's just with self-love. To find something about yourself that you can really love. Yeah.
That's lovely. Do you want to share? We can both share. Do you want to share one thing you love about yourself now?
I love the way that I'm embracing new challenges.
That's really nice. I was going to go with something very superficial, like I really like my manicure.
I think that's gorgeous.
Thank you.
I can trade my fingernails. I like your manicure too.
Thank you. My sister did it. I've never had a colour on my nails, not for years, so I'm incredibly impressed by it.
Well, from all the way over here, they look beautiful.
Thank you.
And what a lovely way of self-love to have that beautiful thing.
Sometimes I love things like dresses and glitter and sparkles and actually actively enjoying and dressing up for our lives. Because so often we don't, and we just think, oh no, I won't spend £12 on a manicure. No. You think, well, why not? Literally, why not? I mean, if you literally don't have £12, that's different. But otherwise, why are you saying that I can't do that? Anyway, so
I love the way you think, Grace.
thank you. So, my dear ones, you have your missions. Thank you very, very much for watching so far. Again, this is Claire Coaster from lovinglifewithdiabetes.com. I am Grace from gracequantock.com and healing-boxes.com. And we are sending you so much love, and we'll see you soon. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye.